Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you a bunch of different YouTube channel ideas if you're more of an introvert and don't really have like a real big personality to rely on. So one idea that you might look into that I've come across recently is something similar to the Relaxing End, which has 6.82 million subscribers on YouTube, and this is a pretty much entirely silent video and they don't talk at all. So what they do, though, is pretty smart. What they do is they do unboxing and reviews of tech, and they also show off the gaming setups for different PCs and different consoles on different types of games. So they'll do like a first-person shooter, they'll do some sort of RPG, they'll do a lot of different types of video games that are popular. They'll play them on these different systems, and then they'll also review and give the specs and all of that stuff, all without even talking. So you're accomplishing a lot by doing this. If you're an introvert, you don't have to worry about being on camera, you don't have to worry about saying anything, but you're also doing something that has a lot of ad potential because you're talking about something that people are probably about to buy. If they're watching review channels and stuff like this, they're thinking about buying it. So a lot of people are going to want to advertise on your channel, and they're going to want to bid pretty high, meaning you'll make more money. So another thing you'll notice about this channel is you don't even know anything about them. You don't know male or female or what race they are or anything. They even wear gloves while they're doing this. And it's become kind of their own specific style for doing these videos. But they went pretty extreme as far as, you know, being anonymous in their videos. And that's something you can do, or you can just, you know, maybe do a voiceover instead if you're just concerned about being on camera, or do something where you're not speaking or on camera at all. But if you look at these, they'll just kind of introduce the product. You know, they'll have different sections in the videos where you can skip to like the intro, you can skip to the specs, you can skip to the part where they're putting it together, or you can skip to the part where they're actually playing games on it and you can see the graphics and everything. But you'll notice that they'll use text to outline any specs within the video if they're doing like a PC or something especially, and then they'll show every little detail of it, of the machine, and then at the end they'll show you some things about like what kind of graphics they have, what it looks like on different types of video games and stuff like that. So you can see here they're playing like a Call of Duty game on the PC after they set it up. So the second type of video you could do if you're more introverted is do some sort of a noise type channel for different situations. So there are more and more YouTube channels popping up now that have to do with helping people sleep. I've even seen some people use them with their kids to help them sleep. They'll go to a certain YouTube channel and play a certain video, and these videos play for, as you can see, like 10 hours straight a lot of times, which is kind of the upper end of how long people will sleep. So you got that like 7 to 10 hour window of how long people usually sleep. So you have these really long videos, and then with ads, you know, people are going to have these on longer than most videos. But a lot of times you might just have an ad at the beginning, because if you're interrupting people's sleep with ads in the middle of the video, it might piss people off. But other than that, it's a good type of channel because you can find all sorts of just natural sounds like rain, storms, you know. You can make your own music if you know how to play some sort of instrument or something like that. You could even find certain, you know, songs or something maybe in a video game. You know, there are endless possibilities for doing this, but a lot of these are related to sleep or for work music, things like that. So you can look up Relaxing White Noise, 2 million subscribers, and it's pretty basic. Like they'll just have a basic graphic and then do a noise that's kind of, you know, ominous. So the third type of video you could do, or the third type of channel you could do if you are introverted, don't want to be on camera, or don't even want to speak, is something like Sir Reddit, which has almost 300,000 subscribers. And literally what they do is they go to reddit.com and they find a top subreddit, like Ask Reddit is pretty much the main one used on this one, and then they'll take the most popular questions that are asked on Ask Reddit, and then they will do the most popular comments on that topic as the visual. So that's literally all you're doing. You're kind of reading, but they're also having it read to you in audio form using a computer generated voice. So there's all sorts of websites, like naturalreader.com is one example, where you can copy the comments and the title that you want to be spoken, paste it on naturalreader.com, and then it'll speak it. And then you can just download the file and then put it all in a video editor and create videos just like these. So I wouldn't recommend doing Ask Reddit because Sir Reddit is pretty much already dominating that one. But you could probably find other subreddits where you could do this. There are hundreds of thousands of members. There are a lot of interesting topics. And you're literally just taking it from one platform to another, from Reddit to YouTube, and creating videos out of it without you having to really come up with your own stuff. So you can see throughout the video, this is basically what it looks like. You have just these different comments, and that's about it. And then the computer generated voice is reading them to you as the video goes on. So the fourth type of channel you could do without really having to have a big personality is recording certain parts of video games that you're playing. You can help people with very difficult video games. And one example of this is Boss Fight Database. So Boss Fight Database has 827,000 subscribers as of me making this video. And what they do is they go and play certain types of games like RPGs, and they will fight the biggest enemies, otherwise known as bosses if you're a gamer, and they will kind of show you how to beat them. But they don't explain how they're doing it, and they are not on camera. So it's great if you're just kind of starting out, you want to do a video game related channel, and you know, they just went on forever doing it this way. They never ended up, you know, starting to do voiceovers or anything. They've just been doing this since they started, it seems like. So they have kind of this niche where people might want to know how to beat a boss, but they are not big on listening to people comment on what to do. They just want to kind of watch someone else. So what you can do is look at these videos, kind of watch how they do it, and then you can start recording these. What you can do is become a Twitch streamer, and even though you're not necessarily on camera and everything, you can use Twitch to record these, save them into the Twitch account that you have, and then download it to your computer, edit it on a video editor, and then upload it just like they do. So they'll even do certain videos too, where they'll do all the bosses from a particular game in one video, and then it'll be like a 30-minute video or something. So you can kind of go through and see here that you'll see different bosses, how they're fighting them, and all of that throughout the video. So another type of channel you can do is compilations. Now the thing about this is copyright. Are you using something that's copyrighted? Are you making an original work out of a compilation of short clips, or are you using too much of someone else's work? So one thing you got to really watch out for, of course, is background music. Music is one of the hardest things to get into a video without copyright violations, so don't even try. If you're using a song that's famous or something, it's going to trigger a flag on your video and you won't be able to monetize it. So things like that. You can find clips from people on Reddit, from people on all sorts of social media platforms. You might want to get their permission before putting them in a compilation like this. Or if you have your own clips from like you and your friends and stuff, you can do that as well. But what a lot of these channels do, like People Are Awesome has 3.5+ million subscribers. They have a submissions page where people will submit their clips, and then you basically just give them the right to feature them in a compilation. And so a lot of times they'll do videos related to like extreme sports, or like a bunch of snowboarders, or a bunch of axe throwers, or just random stuff like that. So if you go through one of these videos, you'll see all sorts of clips of all sorts of people doing, just cool stunts and just doing stuff that, is really interesting to watch. So video channel idea number 6 is basically tutorials. So you can do tutorials pretty easily without having to really say anything, or you can do them while speaking without having to really be on camera. There are different levels, of course, of introversion, but if you're someone who can at least kind of speak but just don't want to be on camera, one thing you can do is look at something like, drawing tutorial channels. You can look at coding tutorial channels, cooking. I've seen some where all you see is their hands and how they're making something, but they don't even sometimes get on camera at all. So whatever you like to do, if you think you could do tutorials, you can make a channel on that without having to actually be on camera and, be entertaining. So one example, of course, I'm not saying she's not entertaining. I'm not saying she's not a big personality. I'm just saying you can look at, some videos like, Natalia Madej. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. But you'll see like in the previews of some of these videos, a lot of times she might like review a product that she's using to create her art, or you're literally just watching her draw something, or she's teaching you how to draw something and the basics of that. So, that's another example of something you could do. And you can see 591,000 subscribers literally just doing like drawing tutorials and stuff like that. That's pretty good. So another thing you can do is not be involved in your videos at all. You're just recording. So one thing that you can do with this is if you have pets or just animals in general, but if you have a cat or a dog or, couple of each, whatever, you can create videos of all the funny stuff that they do. And people actually really like to watch this. This is one of the like first things that started taking off on YouTube back in the day before YouTube became so big. They would just have random videos on there posted and, a lot of times poor quality at the time. And it would just be like people's cat videos. And that became like a thing. People always joking about, oh, you're wasting time watching cat videos on YouTube. But these things actually still get views. So if you have a cat or a dog or a bird or whatever you have, you can actually do a channel for them, and you might be surprised how many people would actually watch it. So one example of a channel that's done pretty well at this is called Kittysaurus, 2.67 million subscribers. Literally, it's just someone whose cats do funny stuff, and they like set up little, situations for the cats. They'll play with toys with them, and the cats will like interact with each other. And that's literally the channel. Like, you probably don't even have to hear their voice at all. You never really see the person on camera who's recording. So it's great for an introvert. So when you're going through the video, you can see just literally the star of the show every time is whatever cat or multiple cats are in the video. And so they'll just have these different situations. They'll set up like an obstacle course for them or whatever. And, you can make a video a week or something. So another thing, number 8, that you can do as an introvert if you want a YouTube channel is Whiteboard Animations. So you can find some whiteboard animation software. Just look it up on Google. There's plenty of them out there. Read the reviews, figure out which one you think you would like. And then you can create animations of whatever you want. So a lot of times people will do like book summaries, or they'll do like ideas about something, or they'll talk about a certain topic, whatever. A lot of times it's more like an informational type of channel instead of just, comedy or entertainment. So one example of this is Fight Mediocrity. This is one of the better whiteboard animation channels I've seen, although they don't do a lot of whiteboard animations anymore. This was kind of how the channel got started and actually took off. So you can see usually by the thumbnail which ones are whiteboard animations and which ones aren't. So usually it'll have like a picture of the person that they took some quotes from, or that whose book they read, and then they create a whiteboard animation to outline the kind of summary of whatever the speech was or whatever the book was talking about. So you can kind of go through these and see a pretty high quality video without the actual person who drew it or who animated this on screen at all. Sometimes they don't even use their own voice. They use like a speech or different parts of quotes from different interviews, and they'll use that as the audio, which, again, think about copyright, experiment with that. Don't mess with copyright too much. But either way, the one who does these videos is never on camera, except for maybe every once in a while they'll do like a vlog. So you can see right here kind of what the visuals look like for the video. And again, sometimes they'll use what the person the video is about said in a speech or an interview, or sometimes they'll use the actual YouTube channel creator's voice as the audio part of this. So next you can, as far as another channel that's kind of related to that, you can do animations or cartoons. So one example of a very big channel, or at least one that used to be extremely popular, is Oni NG. They took a really long break for like years where they didn't really do new content for like 5 years because they were working on more of like a Let's Play channel. But then they started coming back and doing more of some of the animations that they got kind of famous with in the first place. But they can throw their voice, or they'll have different voice actors or different friends doing voices for the characters, and then they will animate everything for the visual. So it's literally like watching a cartoon. So if you are introverted, you don't have to worry about really being on the spot or anything, or being on camera with this style, but it has a really high ceiling as far as how much money you can make and how many views you can get, because people love animated YouTube channels. So you can see kind of from the previews here, they'll have different types of animations. Some look a little bit different than others, but for the most part, you can either throw your voice and do the different voices yourself. You can have your friends or family do some of the voices, or you can hire people off of, different websites, like freelance websites like Upwork or Fiverr or something like that. And then of course it helps to be a little bit artistic before doing this. So another thing that's kind of related to what I did earlier for number 2, which was relaxing sounds. This is kind of similar, but a little bit different at the same time. So a lot of times they have certain sounds, like nature sounds and stuff, that people will use to sleep. And they have other channels like Soothing Relaxation. They'll do it for like Christmas, or they'll do it for different holidays. They'll have background music for like a party. They'll have background music for working. They'll have just instrumental music in general a lot of times for all sorts of situations. So just something to have on while you're reading. I mean, it covers a lot of different things. So Soothing Relaxation is a very big channel that's done very well at this. 6.55 million subscribers. You can, again, make your own music to go with this. You can use music from copyright-free sources, but it's pretty simple as far as, you can just do a static visual, just a nice picture that kind of relates to the sounds that you're doing, and then just have the music playing in the background. And then last but not least is a podcast channel. So there still are a lot of podcasts out there there's still a lot of podcasters out there that don't take advantage of this yet, but you can easily take your podcast and turn it into a YouTube channel and really grow your audience much faster, even if you don't put a lot of effort into the visuals for your channel. So there are different podcasts that do this to different levels, but if you are introverted but you don't mind at least speaking about something or talking about a subject that you're passionate about, then you can do this. If you feel like you can start a podcast, you can do a channel related to it without having to be on camera or without having to be like the star of the show. So one example is like Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball. Like, this is a great podcast for playing fantasy basketball. But and the guy is on camera, the guy who does that, Josh Lloyd, but you could easily do the same type of thing but not be on camera. And then you could just use your notes as the visuals and talk about, who you think should be a good player for this day and all of that. Again, you can apply this to pretty much anything that you want to do your channel about. It doesn't have to be sports related. So that's an example of a podcast that is also turned into a YouTube channel. Another example would be the Tim Ferriss Show. So if you look at Tim Ferriss on YouTube, 766,000 subscribers, and his podcast is one of the top ones overall in pretty much any category, probably one of the top 2 or 3 in business and personal development, that kind of stuff. But he will have interviews with different people who are usually like founders of companies or CEOs or whatever, comedians, writers, lots of different people that have accomplished what is deemed as success, and he will interview them about whatever, all sorts of habits and routines and stuff that they have. And so a lot of times you'll see a thumbnail, it'll be a picture of who he's interviewing, and when you actually click on an episode on the YouTube version of it, it's just an image of who's being interviewed, the title, a picture of the cover art for the podcast, and then you're just listening to the audio in the background. That's it. There's no like constantly changing visuals. So if you look at this example here of one of his latest episodes, you see the cover art for the podcast. If you ever want to look it up, it'll have that as the logo. It has a picture of the person that's being interviewed, who they are, and that's it. That's literally all they do for visuals. You could make that on, canva.com with a free account in 5 minutes, and then you're done. You don't need a graphic designer or anything. And then all you got to do is post whatever the podcast is about. Of course, you could do interviews. You're probably not going to do interviews if you're more of an introverted person, but you could do a podcast solo or with your best friend or something, and then just talk about whatever it is that you're talking about. And this could be how you post on YouTube. So if you click around on this video, the visual never changes. It's just a low maintenance, easy way to turn your podcast into a video and just spread your brand awareness out more in a very non-time consuming way. So these are 11 of the better ways I've seen, introverts do YouTube channels. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.